Welcome to the Mike Avery Outdoors YouTube channel. My name is Mike Avery. I'm an outdoor broadcaster based in Michigan. I had a television show for many, many years. These days, just doing radio, podcasting, and social media. But because I had that TV show for a long time, I have a very extensive video library, a lot of things we've done over the years, and people have said, why don't you share some of that with us? Well, this is really kind of my first attempt, well, not my first attempt, one of my early attempts at doing that. You can see some of my early video. For example, my interview with Fred Bear I did back in the mid-'80s is here on my channel. But I'm going to take some of these old videos, maybe some of the more mundane videos, not the Fred Bear videos, and use YouTube and social media as a way to share some of these videos again. Now keep in mind, a lot of these videos I'm going to show you look very crude, amateurish, even though they aired on my television show, on broadcast stations in Michigan, on the Outdoor Channel, on the Sportsman Channel. Outdoor television has come a long, long way. The technology has changed, the video quality has changed, and the way that we produce video has changed. But let me just take a minute to show you a video shot on Saginaw Bay in Michigan, several years ago. This is a bow fishing video. It was done with a friend of mine. His name is Mark Romanack. You know Mark from the Fishing 411 television show, precision trolling app, the Troller's Bible they call it, but he's an avid outdoorsman. He was a pro staffer on my TV show. And we took a day, an afternoon in the summertime, to go bow fishing out on Saginaw Bay, out of the Fish Point Lodge, which at the time was owned by fishing guide and bow fishing guide Doug Deming. Take a look. You know, when Mark Romanack said we had an invitation to go bow fishing on Saginaw Bay out of the Fish Point Lodge, did I want to go? I jumped on that, of course I did. The only experience I've had with bow fishing before was behind the camera, watching other people do it, and I was fascinated by the sport. It looked like a lot of fun. But now I had a chance to jump in front of the camera, put a bow in my hand and try it out. I was really excited about it.
Oh,
got him!
Got him! Got him!
Whoa, jeez. Oh, he pulled loose. He pulled loose. Ah!
Oh, that was a nice shot.
That was very cool.
That was cool.
Man, that's a little bit like having a freight train on the end of your line. They call it bow fishing because it's a cross between fishing and bow hunting. While the sport does take place on the water and the targets are fish, it seems like there's more hunting than fishing.
No question about it. It's more hunting, more stalking. Techniques of getting close to the fish is certainly more, more important. As we saw today, the difference between deeper water and shallower water and clear water, how the fish were more spooky, how it was very tough to get into those fish in clear water. And we kind of ended up having our best shooting in the murky water, the in-between. Clear enough to see the fish, but murky enough that we could get close to them. And some days they're just spookier than others. Some days they'll seemingly let you get right up on them, and other days they're moving long before you get close to them.
See, I can't see. I see the mud trails, all I see.
Yeah, all these fish will be in the shallow water by midday.
I like to get them ones about 6 inches right under the surface, and they just...
Right, like this one right here?
Like this one here.
I think I hit that fish.
Oh, you hit the top.
Glanced off of him. What are you laughing at?
Hey, we'll get them up a little higher for you.
I was going to say, you get them any higher, they're going to be in a boat.
All right, all you fish, come on up.
That was a perfect opportunity right there.
That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
That was the kamikaze carp.
You almost
That was
get
pretty
kind
cool.
of a chill when they're just like I said, Jaws. They're coming right.
You know, after 20 minutes of doing this, I can tell I've fallen in love with it already. But you can't shoot fish until you find them. This time of year, they come in shallow to spawn, but they'll move from day to day.
Well, with living here, it kind of helps. You just kind of watch the weather conditions and you watch the fish, what they've been porpoising, and with the weather change as far as temperature of water, whether or not they're staging, and sometimes they're in the inner bay and then the outer, like today they were in the outer bay. And you got to do a little bit of homework, a little bit of scouting. And sometimes you get lucky and just by chance and do run into a few pods of fish, but the majority of them, you got to stay on top of them to know, because someone that comes out that thinks they're just going to shoot them along the shoreline, there's certain times of the year early that they're here and stacked up along the shoreline, but other times you almost need a boat to go, you know, chase them down.
There you go, Mike. That's the kind you're looking for. You stuck him.
Right?
Good job. That's the kind we're looking for. Right
There we go. There we go. I was hoping for a little more fight.
I think you put the hurt on him.
Yeah, I think you.
Number one. And since Mark bet me $5 he'd shoot the first fish, I'm $5 richer.
Lucky it only cost me $5. Got him.
Got it. Oh, there you go. Yeah, baby, he's on the run.
Woo, baby, go.
Use your drag, Mark, use your drag.
Using my drag. Oh, he just pulled off.
Hey, thanks for joining us this week here on the Outdoor Magazine Show. This time, we're on Saginaw Bay, but we're not after walleye or perch. We're after carp. We're out here bow fishing with our friend and Outdoor Magazine pro staffer Mark Romanack. Also, Doug Deming from Fish Point Lodge. He's our guide today. We are out here doing a sport you may not be familiar with yet. It's a combination of fishing and bow hunting. And let me tell you, it is a riot.
It doesn't take a lot of fancy equipment for bow fishing, but you will need a few of the basics.
Well, there's 2 or 3 pieces of equipment that I believe are essential if you're going to do this bow fishing thing. And of course, the most important is these jug-style retriever systems here. The arrow attaches here, and as you can see, it's got a little trigger. You can pull that trigger, and when you pull the trigger, that's when you can actually reel in the line. When you release the trigger, it automatically lets the line slide out freely. That's what makes it safe. Other types of retrieval systems don't do that, and if you forget to push the button, you could shoot and the arrow come right back at you. So this makes it very, very efficient. There's about 50 yards or so of line on here, which is more than plenty for what you're going to need. That's relatively heavy nylon line that can be replaced when this wears. So that's an essential part of it. The other part that's essential is on the other side of the bow, of course, the rest. We don't use the types of rest you'd use bow hunting. They can't handle the weight of the arrows. These arrows are too heavy. So a roller rest like this works, or that fiber style, the whisker biscuit style, works also very, very well. And you're going to need that special rest. And then, of course, your arrows. They have different styles of arrows. You notice we don't even have vanes on here. Vanes are unnecessary because you're shooting at relatively short distances and the arrow is so heavy. But as you can see, it's also made out of fiberglass, not an aluminum arrow. It's a relatively heavy fiberglass arrow. The cable slide is right on here already. These slides are already on. This is where the line attaches. And of course, at the other end is a stop so that this can't slide off the end of the arrow. Okay. And then at the business end, there's a variety of different points you can use. And this one right here is inexpensive and very efficient. It's very simply, after it goes into the fish, all you do is you unscrew it, pull it off the fish, if you will, and then put it back on, if you will. And it takes only a few seconds to do that. And those wires, of course, keep it in the fish. So you will lose occasionally, you will lose the fish will pull out of, but those work very, very well. There are other styles of points you can experiment with, but this is the basic gear you're gonna need to get started. You're gonna need some type of retrieval system. I recommend the bottles, a good rest, some fiberglass arrows, and some points. And you're gonna need quite a few points and a few spare arrows. I think we went through 4 or 5 spare arrows today alone. Whoa, he's not done yet. You tail these things like a big salmon, Doug?
Yep.
He's definitely not done yet.
Now, Mark, that's not the kind of fish I'm used to seeing you holding.
That's true. Scales are a little bigger. It's a little bit more yellow. The lips are a little different too, but what a lot of fun. Man, is it fun doing this. It's hard to imagine how tough it is, yet how fun it is, and how abundant the fish are. I mean, we've missed a ton, but who cares? Every once in a while you get one. Isn't that awesome?
The sport of bow fishing is just so much fun. It's a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, and it's a riot. I mean, we had more action out here as far as flinging arrows in one morning on the water than you would have in an entire fall in the woods whitetail hunting.
Over top of him.
But even the best equipment can't make you hit fish. Bow fishing is a challenge. You're shooting instinctively, without sights, at a small, moving target that's underwater, so you can't shoot where you think the fish are. you have to aim below them. So even the best archer will miss a lot more than they'll hit.
Oh, just to the right.
But those misses make the good shots more rewarding.
Well, Mark, you said you wanted hot, muggy weather. You got it, but it does seem like it makes the fish move, doesn't it?
Well, and it's, let's face it, I mean, we go through long winters in Michigan. It's pretty hard to complain about nice weather like this. I mean, when I walleye fish, I look forward to these flat, calm days when it's warm. I think the walleyes bite best. We're certainly killing some carp today.
Hey, what if I was Doug in those waders? I wouldn't want it that warm, though.
How about I kill this one right here?
Okay. We got him. Nice shot. Beautiful shot.
Beautiful shot.
That was a beautiful shot.
Come to Papa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, look at the drag. Oh my goodness. This is so much fun. Is it everything I told you it was going to be, Mike?
It is. It's so much fun. So much fun. That was a beautiful shot.
Picture perfect.
And you center punched him too.
Yeah. Come to Papa here.
Yeah, you center punched him. That was
There we go.
beautiful. Several kinds of fish are legal for bow fishing, at least here in Michigan. Carp, catfish, gar, dogfish, suckers. You can't shoot what we would normally think of as game fish, pike, walleye, perch. Those are not fair targets. Now, the thing that I had a little bit of a problem with when I was a kid growing up, my dad always taught me, we don't kill something unless we eat it. But you know what? I'm not eating these carp out here. Some people may like them. I'm not going to eat them. But at least they don't go to waste. Legally, they can't. Legally, you cannot shoot fish out here and just leave them to float. Besides that, I think that would be unethical. What happens most of the time is they're used for fertilizers. Local farmers take advantage of them. People put them around their roses. They make fantastic rose gardens, but the fish do not go to waste. Oh, gar. Pretty good size one, too. Turn, turn, turn. Got him.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, he's putting up a little bit of a fight for being skewered. Ooh, that's not much of a target either, is it?
As long as he's bigger in diameter than the arrow, huh? Whoa.
That is a gar. And they are not a pretty fish at all. Not a pretty fish. And they're not a very big target either. Well, I've got to say my first experience with bow fishing was certainly humbling. I had watched people do it and thought, there's nothing to it. But it really is pretty tough. But you know what else? It's a lot of fun. I really found it to be enjoyable, challenging, a great way to put a bow in your hands in the springtime. And one thing is for sure, I will be back. I will do this again. I think bow fishing has been added to my list of things that I love to do in the great outdoors.
Yes, I guess so.
All right, well, I told you that it was nothing special, but just a look back into the Outdoor Magazine archives. If you like this type of thing, let me know. I've got a bunch of video I can share here. And what is the term now? Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, like the channel. Speaking of social media, I encourage you to check out my Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page and, of course, my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. The radio show available on broadcast stations across Michigan. The podcast available just about anywhere you get your podcast. Thanks for checking this out today.